Good evening. This is Dick Anderson. I'm going to be your host tonight for the Rotary Public Image webinar given by Laura Spear. Just a couple things. If you want to ask questions, click the little bubble on your control panel, and you can type questions in that way. We find that works the best. I'm going to be muting all of the speakers except for Laura. So the first thing I'm going to do is mute everybody. And let's see, I just unmuted Laura, and now I'm going to transfer control to Laura. So I'm going to switch presenter. Are you sure you want to do this? Of course.
I'm ready.
Everybody would do it.
My turn to present.
Yep. It says becoming presenter.
Bing. Valid.
I think you're showing me that you're almost there. Just hit the, you're showing video. You want to hit the one with the pause bar and the other one?
Sharing.
There you are. Got it.
All right.
You're okay.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. I was asked to present a couple of presentations today. Most of you know me. I am serving as an Assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator for our zone, which is Zone 32. And a lot of this information is already existing on our District 7910 website because I was the former District Public Image Chair for 7910. So it's nice for me to kind of reiterate a lot of this good stuff. And I'm going to walk through two different presentations in the next hour. Feel free to ask questions using the chat feature of this webinar. You can use that little bubble. And the first thing I'm going to present is talking about the branding. You'll see it's called New in Quotes because it was actually rolled out in 2012. So we're going on 5 years now, but it's still new to a lot of people. A lot of people just don't understand how things have changed in the past 5 years. And the second thing I'm going to do then is talk about how we can apply this branding to a membership campaign using public image materials. So let's get started with the very first piece, which is the new Rotary Branding, or what I call not your grandfather's wheel. All right, so I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to review the voice and visual identity and elements. And the second thing I'm going to talk about are the PR resources that we have available for you. Let's get started. So first of all, I am hopeful everyone has gone to the Rotary Brand Center. There are two ways to get to it. One is the more direct route, which is using the URL that you see on the screen, rotary.org/brand center. You will have to log in using your rotary.org credentials. So that's your username and your password. The other way is to go into rotary.org, log in to My Rotary using those Rotary credentials, and then pull down one of the top menu bars to go to Brand Center. So you can get there through various means, but Brand Center is where you're going to find all of these great materials. You'll see logos, and you'll see images and videos, and the new People of Action ads, and some brochures that you can customize for your club, and flyers, and on and on and on and on, all kinds of good stuff. So if you have not been there, I do recommend that you take some time, go into it, just explore and see what's available. And if we have time before the hour is up, we'll walk through it a little bit just so you can see what it looks like. So let's get started. What Rotary did was way back in 2006, it started running some research campaigns, some surveys to see what people thought about Rotary. And then they followed up in 2011, and that's when they discovered that, well, 2011, of the people they had surveyed from around the world, some Rotarians, some non-Rotarians, really only 60% had an understanding or even heard of the word Rotary. And so they rolled out this branding campaign, if you will, with all these new identity elements to talk about how we can promote ourselves better and more consistently. And they introduced this new guidelines and website in 2012. Well, in 2015, we've made some improvement. They went out, did some more surveys. 75% of the people they surveyed said, yep, now we know, we've heard of Rotary. But they weren't quite familiar with what it meant. And so this is what we're trying to really convey. And it starts with your Rotary values. That drives our behavior. It represents our beliefs. It shows what we do and how we act. And it's really these core elements that are foundational for everything else. The look, the feel, the identity, the images, type, the messaging, all of that is based on these underpinning values. And it really boils down into 4 areas. One is fellowship. Build lifelong relationships around the world. And the second is integrity. We say what we mean, we honor what we say, we make commitments, and we follow on them. Diversity. We connect diverse perspectives. We work with diverse people. We have diverse members. We have diverse service projects. So that's a third fundamental value. And then the last one is service and leadership. And they took those underlying values and said, all right, let's create identity elements for each of those. And the first is really your voice. How do you communicate? It's how you speak, how you write, how you design. All of your communications should look and feel and sound the same and should reflect those values of Rotary. So our voice is smart and compassionate and persevering and inspiring. And again, the colors, the fonts, the images, all of that reflect the voice. And it boils down into kind of this core messaging. It's been around as a tagline for a couple of years. It's join leaders, exchange ideas, and take action. And I hear a lot of people say, we need an elevator pitch. We need something short and sweet that talks about what Rotary is, that everyone can share. Well, this is it. So you can use this as 3 legs of the same stool. Use your own words to reflect what this means, but the basic concepts and elements are, we are leaders. We connect with other leaders. We partner with leaders. And we tackle the world's most difficult problems, whether it's here locally in our community or around the world. And we do that by thinking about how we can create these sustainable solutions to the problems. We exchange ideas. And then not only do we talk about it, not only do we plan, we actually act upon it. And that, in fact, is something that's been rolling out recently as part of an ad campaign called People of Action. So it really leverages this essence of leaders who are joining together, exchanging ideas, taking action. The second element that I want to talk about is the logo. Okay, so the logo has changed in the past 5 years, and I still see the old wheel. Unfortunately, when there were surveys done back in 2006 and 2011, people don't know what that old wheel means. They think, oh, is it a bicycle shop? Is it a tire company? They had no idea. So the association with Rotary wasn't there. The new default logo actually uses the word Rotary with an easier, more stylized version of the wheel. That is the default logo. If you can only use one thing, it's that word Rotary with the little wheel right next to it. Now, some clubs like to customize that, and you have the ability to do that on Brand Center. Very easy to follow template where you can just enter your club name, and it automatically spits out kind of a graphical image. And in my case, I'm in the Rotary Club of Neshoba Valley. And so you can see an example of that. It's very simple. Every club should have its own club logo that leverages the RI logo. Now, going back to the wheel is now known as our mark of excellence. It's really our symbol of leadership. It should never be used by itself. We don't want to overuse it, and we want to keep it separate from our default logo. We don't want to change any of this. We don't want to modify the wheel. We don't want to stylize it. We don't want to turn it into some kind of graphical image or change the colors or make it three-dimensional. These are what we use, the marks, untouched. So you can create one for Rotary in general, one for your club, and in some of your promotional materials where you want to add special emphasis, you can use the wheel. But the wheel is really something to highlight. It should be 4 times the size of your regular default logo, and you use it in a very special way. Don't overuse it and don't use it by itself. And you'll see that Rotary actually came out with very similar, consistent logos for the Rotaract and Interact Club. These, again, are all available from Brand Center. Okay, theme logos. Now, this is a tricky thing because some people think that this is what we should be promoting externally. Unfortunately, no. It really is supposed to be used for communicating with Rotarians. So theme logos are identified by the Rotary International President to inspire and motivate Rotarians. So it's an internally facing mark. And you'll see in this slide, you've got the Rotary with the wheel on the left, and then you have this year's theme mark on the right. We don't want to use this externally. The reason why is because it's confusing. It changes every year. Some people say, well, I don't like this one. I like the one that was used last year. And they start using that. Well, that distracts from your whole branding of the Rotary with the little wheel. So if you use it, use them together. Don't use it by itself. And please try not to use it externally. Okay, another element, color. So blue is not blue is not blue. We actually have very specific blues that reflect those values that I had talked about earlier. The default leadership color is Rotary Azure. It's got a very specific specification. You can complement that with other blues, such as Rotary Sky Blue, Royal Blue, and then for accents, you can use Rotary Gold. We also have secondary colors, pastels, and neutrals, and these are all defined in the Voice and Visual Identity Guide that you can find on Brand Center. You can also acquire your own personal hardbound copy from shop.rotary.org. It's the Voice and Visual Identity Guide. It's only $5. It gets shipped from Amazon. If your club doesn't have it already, I do recommend that you get one for your club. But you can download it from the Brand Center website if you want a soft copy. This slide is a little confusing, but if you work with graphic designers, they understand all of these codes. And if you're using a Microsoft Office application like Word or PowerPoint, and you need to know the exact color, look at the very, very bottom line underneath all of those colors. You'll see R and G and P. Those are different color combinations that you can use when you try to create a custom color in the Office application. You can specify those values, red, green, blue, R0, G93, B170. I use this all the time. Again, I'm not just simply selecting a blue. I'm matching it specifically to these Rotary leadership colors. Typography is yet another one of those elements. So there are 2 types of typography. They have what is called the primary typeface. but it costs money. So you have Frutiger, you got to pay for it. There are alternatives that are free. So if you don't want to pay for the Frutiger typeface, you can use Arial Narrow. And that is something that you can find in any of those Microsoft Office applications. If you're using a headline, you want it to be all capital letters. You want dense text to be readable, so you can use Arial Narrow. Otherwise, if you're just using a little bit of secondary text, you can use a, quote, secondary typeface. Again, there's a paid version and a free version. The paid version is Sentinel. The free version is Georgia. So if you look at this slide in particular, you will see primary typeface, secondary typeface. That is done in Arial Narrow using one of the approved blue colors. You'll see the text of Frutiger, Arial Narrow, headlines, dense text, etc. in the table. That uses Georgia. So this is what the fonts actually look like. So this is something that Rotary wants us to use for our typeface. They don't want us making up our own font. They don't want us to use Calibri or any of the other fun type of typefaces. And I say fun because they're designed to be very casual and informal. We're trying to project ourselves as professional and leaders and those values of integrity and service and community. And so this is why they're using these specific typefaces. It's all part of a whole. I think one of the most important things I can emphasize is the element of imagery. We really focus on photos, and we want to feature people in candid shots. We want to show Rotarians in action, having fun. Again, that sense of leadership and fellowship and camaraderie and people doing things. Do not, please do not use what I call the grip and grin photos where you're standing in a line, shaking hands. That's the worst thing you can do. That, in fact, is what every organization uses as part of their public relations. And it is boring, and it does not set us apart as leaders taking action. We want to show people doing things. We want to show people actually engaged, again, part of the community, or having a good time. We also don't want to show clip art or cartoons or animated graphics or any of the other PowerPoint images that you can kind of put into a presentation. Again, get good photos. And if there's one thing you can do for your club is find someone in your club who loves taking pictures. And it doesn't have to be a serious camera. These smartphones are fabulous. You can take little mini videos. You can take pictures of people at your service projects. You can take pictures of people discussing things in a meeting. Remember, that's exchanging ideas. So you want to show people really trying to force those leaders and exchanging ideas and taking action. There is another element that most people will not have to worry about. That's kind of icons and information graphics. We do want to have a very simple, modern, informative style that we use. If you're using shapes, put them in circles. And really, you can use those for facts or navigation. They're not logos. This is something to be used on your website or in maybe some presentation materials. But again, I don't anticipate most clubs using these. So how does this all come together? So if those are the building blocks, how do you assemble them? So if you go into Brand Center, there are templates where you can create your own flyers, you can create your own club brochure, and if you want to create your own separate things, whether they are flyers without using Brand Center or your website or some kind of promotional deliverable, an email blast, whatever you want to do, the best thing I can recommend is to look at the Rotarian. There are lots and lots of examples in the Rotarian. They have lots of ads, shows how those building blocks come together. The most dominant element is the image. You want that picture. You want to use that typeface. You want to use the right colors. There are lots of blocks. They're very bold. We're not talking about a lot of white space. In these examples, you don't see a lot of white space. That's done on purpose. We want people to really show how rich and vibrant we are as an organization. We also have a lot of examples on the District 7910 website in the PR section, and they are in their native format, not just PDFs. We're talking about Word documents and PowerPoint presentations. Very simple for you to copy and paste or adapt and use as a template for your own materials. And in these examples, we'll see that there are big wheels. They're definitely using them. But they are also including the small little rotary word with the little wheel next to it, logo, in the same material. And they're usually in the lower left corner. That's typically how it is. We're not centering text. It's all flush left. You can see that it's not blocked, so it's not flush left and flush right. It really is easy to read. We're not trying to make it look like an invitation. We want all of our materials to look alike because they reinforce each other. And the more that we do across our own club, with other clubs, across the districts, across the zones, around the world, it just reinforces all of the look and feel that we have, that we're creating. So I guess the bottom line is cohesion is really, really what's going to make the difference. Consistency and repetition is key. Everything we create should be part of a whole. We should be building upon all of our communications, all of our public outreach, all of our public relations materials to create an awareness and understanding of Rotary, because that's how we're going to strengthen our Rotary image, how people will recognize what we stand for, how we can motivate and engage our current members and attract new members, get donations and funders for our projects, and really to elevate the entire Rotary experience. So where do you go for this stuff? Yet again, get a copy, if you don't have one already, of the Voice and Visual Identity Guidelines. I mentioned you can get it at shop.rotary.org. It's only $5, and you can go to the Brand Center and download it. Most importantly, don't just get it, use it. Follow the guidelines. And if you're working with vendors, make sure they get a copy of it. We have a lot of graphics designers within the clubs, or clubs reach out to friends who can design something. They may create beautiful deliverables, but they don't look anything like Rotary. And we want them to follow the guidelines as well so that all of our materials look the same. It may be boring, but it reinforces the brand. Again, take a look at those examples. We also have training materials on the District 7910 website. Take a look at the Rotarian to see how things are put together. And then if you have questions at the district level, start with Karen. Although she is our district governor, unfortunately, she is also our acting public image chair. And so she can reach out to various people if you have specific questions. Other resources are available for public relations. You can get them from the Rotary website, everything from a public relations manual and an effective PR guide. There is a district PR committee that Karen has been putting together. She needs your support and assistance if you want to participate. And then I'm here as the Zone 32 Assistant Public Image Coordinator. And what that means is my job is to be kind of a conduit. So I am supposed to communicate information from Rotary down to the districts and from the districts back up to Rotary International. But if you have questions about how to use any of this, I can track down answers. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes left for this part of the presentation. Do we have any questions?
If you have questions, type in questions by clicking on the bubble, which will open the chat, and just type in your questions.
Everybody's an expert. Hooray! Okay. It sounds like we're about ready to move on. All right, I'm going to move on. All right, now that we talked about the building blocks, kind of those core elements of identity and branding, what else? I see something. I see something. Are you going to email this presentation to the participants? Well, the best news is the core of this already exists and is on the district website. Hooray. So it's already there. So yes, I can re-email this presentation, but you can find this core content today. Okay, so we talked about the elements. We talked about there are lots of pieces that we're supposed to use, and how can you put them together? Well, we actually have some core materials that have been put together already. And we put those together in a way so that you can attract new members. So I am going to talk about that. I'm going to start off by talking about the buyer's journey. And I created this presentation back in February. And again, it is available on the district website. So you are able to download this and to have it directly today, right now. You don't even need to wait for me. You can look at it yourself. And feel free to leverage it. Again, I'm a firm believer in cut and paste. So let's get started. What is a buyer's journey? Well, that is now the newfangled marketing term for something that people used to call the sales cycle. So that it really is looking at the process that people go through when they become aware of something, evaluate it, and then purchase it, whether it's a new product or a service. So it's a very corporate term. And the question is, can we apply the same concept to Rotary? Well, let me ask you this. You're walking down the street or you run into an old friend and they said, hey, I'm in Rotary. How about you become a member? You want to fill out a membership form right now? What would you say? You'd probably say, I'm too busy to look at this, or I'm too busy to talk about this right now, or I got to go. Thanks anyway. But what's Rotary? Nobody understands what it is. You can't just go up to someone on the street and ask them to be a member right away. You have to take them through a process. So we're going to apply that same concept. We're going to expose potential members to Rotary, the value it provides, and try to move them across that buyer's journey from awareness to consideration to becoming a member to installing them, and then what do you do even after they're a member? And we have these PR materials that exist already that you can customize. So let's talk a little bit about how you can do that. So this presentation is designed to have 6 phases, starting from personal contact all the way through installation. And we know you have to have this umbrella of general awareness of Rotary. It's very supportive across all of those phases. But there are very specific deliverables that you can apply to each one of these 6 phases. And that's what we're going to step through in the next few minutes. So step 1 is that personal contact. Well, first of all, you can't really very well by going to strangers. Basically, you need to find those like-minded individuals, people you may know such as your neighbors or people who may be in civic organizations with you or business associates. And then you can see if they're interested in the same values that we have for Rotary. Do they want to do community service? Do they want to give back? Are they interested in improving the local community or even at the global level? And then you can invite them to get to know some of the Rotarians in your club. Have it be a social event, a meet and greet, or other type of fellowship event. And we have an invitation that could do just that. It doesn't talk about Rotary is an organization around the world of 1.2 million people and 1,400. We don't talk about that. We have, what if you could feed the hungry, shovel snow for the elderly, package food, give scholarships for needy students. That type of information is very friendly. It's very approachable. And we have a document right here at the bottom. That's a link. And if you click on it, it's going to take you to the Rotary 7910 website to that very specific document that you can customize for your club. Think about all the different service projects that you do and put them in very simplistic terms. And I bet every single club would have a full page of all of those different activities that they do for giving back to their community locally and around the world. And what if you could be part of that? You're trying to attract their attention and their interest. Invite them to a fellowship event. We had a pizza gathering at a local pizza restaurant. And we said, we'll pay for the pizza. There's a bar, cash bar, buy your own drinks. And usually some people would invite other potential members and buy them a beer or a glass of wine. But we provided the pizza. We kept it casual. There was no formal presentation. There was no one standing up saying, oh, welcome, we're a Rotary. We kept it so low-key, and we had a little table off to the side that had a poster. We had some handouts. We had our little club brochures and a little information about Rotary International and what's Rotary, and people could wander by and pick it up if they wanted to. We had a sign-up sheet where if they wanted to be on our friends list, we would include them, but it was low pressure. And the whole point was to get to know us. There are a lot of people in our club. We're very diverse. And it was a way to expose these prospective members to all of our diversity, get to know us and understand us and like us, because it's really hard to say no to someone you like. Then once you're done with your fellowship event, follow up with that. Thank them for coming. Hope you had a good time. Love to see you again. Hey, we got a couple of service projects coming up. Why don't you come join us? We've got a fundraiser. We've got a service project. We'd love to your help with some of these projects that we're doing, like our reality fair. You can actually see what we do and get a sense of the type of things that we do. And so we have lots of PR supporting materials, things like flyers and the Facebook events. And you can list things on your website calendars. And you can actually create separate Facebook pages or websites for your projects if they're really, really big. And then include them on that friends list and communicate with them. Multiple touches really makes a difference. And again, it's very low-key. Hey, this is a bulletin from our last meeting. Hey, we're looking for volunteers for the next service project. And after they keep hearing from you a couple of times, they're either going to say, wow, this is pretty interesting stuff, or they're going to say, take me off your list. And that's okay. What we're trying to do is, again, gain their interest through multiple touches. And so having them on a friends list is going to help them understand if this is the right fit for them. What's in it for you? That's always the big thing you have to keep in mind for prospective members. Then after you go from the service project, that's when you can reach out and say, well, you know, we also have these meetings. You want to come? Stop by a meeting. We'll buy you breakfast. Or I'll buy you a cocktail at our sunset event. or I'll buy you lunch. So come on, see what we're doing, and make sure you have an interesting program. Sometimes you want to invite people, but it may be kind of a boring week. And I hate to say that, but sometimes some of the meetings can be a little slower. Make sure you have a really dynamic speaker or an interesting program, or maybe you're discussing a project you think they'd be passionate about. So be very, very thoughtful about inviting them to one of your meetings. A lot of clubs tend to start with this as step one. Wait towards after you have the informal fellowship, after they're involved in a service activity, then invite them to a meeting and greet them. Go with them. Say, hey, you want to ride? Love to see you. Or if they show up, make sure you introduce them to people in your club and to your fellow club members, your president. Acknowledge them. Make them feel special. From a PR support, you can do a weekly meeting notice to invite them. Make sure that they are on the speaker list or the meeting list as part of your friends. Give them a ticket or a coupon for a free meal, or just purchase it for them. Once they've gone through all that, they may actually be serious about joining your club. Well, again, set expectations. And I know that there's this old concept called Fireside Chat, but basically what that means is sit down with your prospective member one-on-one and go through the nuts and bolts of what your club is all about. Do it in a very casual, friendly, public location. Make it inviting, but make sure you are not hiding anything or holding back. Talk about the dues. Talk about the financial commitments. These are really hard conversations to have. But if you have the person already interested in the type of activities that you do, they like the people that are in the club, they like the activities and service projects, they think the meeting was really engaging, they're probably going to be okay with the dues and the financial commitments. And when you have a fireside chat, I know I personally print out a hard copy of our club presentation. I have it in those little individual sheets, clear sheets in a binder, so I don't have to worry about bringing my computer. I just bring that little binder, and I walk through it. And that club presentation, again, is on the website. I would say probably 75% of it is appropriate for every single club in our district. Just update the photos, update the projects that you do, maybe add a slide on kind of the financial commitment if you want to. We also have a little handout that our club does. And make sure you have a membership application. Again, low pressure, but hey, if you're really interested, here's an application. Now, here's the gotcha. There is no official Rotary membership application at this time. There used to be, but right now you can pretty much use whatever you want for a membership application. So we tend to continue using the older version. If you have one that you would like to share, let me know, because I think that'll be a great resource for the rest of the district as well. Once the member says, yeah, I'm there, you go through your process for accepting the members using your board and your club. Develop a biography. A biography that you can pass out to your club. I'm hearing an echo, sorry about that. When your member is installed. We do that for our members. We include a photo of the person. We include a little history and a biography about them, what their interests are, what their professional experience is, and why they wanted to join our club. And that gets passed out during the installation. That's a big deal. It makes a big difference for your new member. Feature your new member also in your club newsletter, your bulletin, your Facebook page. Include a picture of them being installed. Put it on your website. Make a big deal out of it. And so, again, there's a lot you can do from a PR perspective that's personally to your club. We also have a link to what you can do for the district newsletter. So welcome those people and acknowledge them. But you're not done yet. Throughout the entire process, you want to make sure you are doing general awareness that validates every member's involvement in the organization. You want them to feel good that they are part of Rotary and part of your club. You're reinforcing the decision that they made to join your club and still are active members. That reinforces the involvement not only of these new members, but your existing members. And you can do that through a variety of traditional PR activities, whether it's press releases for the local newspapers, your local cable TV show, using videos, maybe banners at your events. But you can also, again, use social media, update your website, put postings on Facebook, events on Facebook, send out tweets, do online calendar postings, more and more, I would say newspapers, but, well, they're newspapers, but now they're becoming digital. And so instead of creating a whole lot of articles, they have a lot of calendar lists. Make sure you leverage those as well. So the next steps for you, think about this presentation and look at it for how you can apply it to your club. Try to determine what your club's own buyer's journey would look like and what type of activities you should be doing, and schedule it. Create a plan and download those sample materials that I linked to. Customize them. Create a presentation or a brochure or flyers for your club. Take a look at the materials that are already on the district website. Then have your members think about who would be a good fit for your organization. Again, whether they're neighbors or fellow members of volunteer organizations or business associates. And then go out and contact them and implement your plan. Take them through that buyer's journey and make it much more proactive rather than hit and miss. So that's kind of a summary of the buyer's journey. Again, it's a membership presentation, but there are a lot of PR materials that support this activity. Do we have questions?
Please fill them in the messages section, or the chat section, which is the bubble on the control panel.
Give it another minute. So, Dick, tell us all, I know you're recording this. Are we going to put a link on the website? Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, what I'll do is download it probably tomorrow or Friday, depending on tomorrow or Friday, depending on my schedule. We'll post it on YouTube and then put a link on the district website.
That'd be fabulous. And thank you, Tony and Michelle, for the thumbs up. I appreciate the comment. Any questions?
Not hearing any.
No, I think we're done. Well, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to listen through this and think about this. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me.
I think we're all set, Laura. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and take care. I'm going to shut the seminar down.
Thanks, Dick. I appreciate